After being cheated on, many people turn into a version of themselves that they don't even recognize anymore. Maybe you used to see yourself as the chill partner, but now you're waking up at 3 a.m. to check their phone. Or you're replaying a conversation from 3 years ago, looking for a lie in the details that you might have missed. Or maybe you're just driving to the grocery store and suddenly, out of nowhere, a mental image of the betrayal just barges in and your heart is racing like you're about to be in a car accident when you're just getting groceries. In those moments, it's easy to feel like you're losing it or unstable, but you're not. You aren't losing your mind. Your brain is actually working perfectly. It's just that our brains sometimes are not designed to make us happy. It's running a survival program that was never meant to be turned on in this context. So today we're going to look at the neuroscience of betrayal and why logic isn't always enough to turn off the alarm. So there are three main parts going on. The first is your amygdala. In your brain, this is like the smoke detector. Its only job is to ask, am I safe? After betrayal, your smoke detector becomes super high sensitivity. It starts seeing fire everywhere, like in a late text, a change in tone, a specific song, even when there's barely any smoke. And so when the amygdala goes off, it floods your body with adrenaline before you even are fully aware of why. The second component to be aware of is the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of your brain that is the executive, the CEO, the part that's supposed to be logical and in charge. It's the part of you that wants to be rational. But when the smoke detector goes off, it basically is locking the CEO out of the building. That's why you can't always use logic in those moments to think your way out of the panic. And then the third part is the hippocampus. This is like the filing clerk. Usually it timestamps memories and files them away into the past. But when you experience the trauma of betrayal, the filing clerk gets overwhelmed and drops the files on the floor. So this is why a memory of the cheating feels like it's happening right now instead of months ago. This is why a conversation where they said something so hurtful after the discovery still feels like they just said it to you yesterday, even if they've been doing all the right things since then. Or even if it's a new partner, those words are still echoing as if they were just told to you. So why are you obsessing? Why do you feel like you have to know every detail? It's because your brain uses your past experiences to predict the future so that you can stay safe. That is the number one thing that your brain does. And because you assumed that your partner was faithful, your brain felt safe. And then when that turns out to be false, your brain realized that its entire map or GPS for reality was wrong. Now your brain doesn't know what is real and what isn't. It's like when you take a wrong turn and your phone's GPS is trying to find a new route and you're stuck in a dead zone and it hasn't figured out what the path forward is yet. And so in the meantime, it goes into just obsessive rumination. It makes you look at every old photo, retrace the route that you've driven so far, and ask, was that a lie? Was this a lie? Is that solid? Is this solid? Your brain isn't trying to torture you. It's trying to test the terrain and figure out where there are errors so it can rebuild a new map of reality that it can actually trust. So checking constantly is a survival strategy. And all of this gets amplified the more that you were gaslit. If you felt something was wrong and they kept insisting that you were crazy for thinking so, or that you were just imagining things, that's not merely a lie. It's also an attack on your brain's ability to trust its own perception. Because getting deceived completely is one thing. But knowing that you were right and then being talked out of it messes with your ability to trust yourself in the future. So you're dealing with two things at the same time here. Number one, it knows that the map is mistaken. And two, it doesn't trust its own ability to figure out what the correct map is. And so it's not just insecurity that's causing you to keep checking the location or keep checking the texts. It's because you're looking for something solid because you don't trust yourself. You're trying to prove to yourself that you're not crazy. And a lot of times people will keep living out this strategy far beyond its usefulness. Maybe you had to collect a lot of evidence to get your partner to admit to what they did, but now you feel like you need to collect a lot of evidence for anything. You need to collect a lot of evidence to decide what you want. You need to collect a lot of evidence to have any conversation with them. That's not a useful way to approach life. It takes way too much time and it's just exhausting. And every time that you do it, it's betraying your own innate ability to just trust yourself. And what's interesting, to go back to the metaphor, is that if your brain is locked out, if your prefrontal cortex is disengaged because of the amygdala overfiring, it's like the CEO is locked out of the building. You can't use logic to immediately get yourself out of the situation. You first, while in those moments, have to convince your nervous system that you are safe right now before the brain will let the CEO back into the building. And the very first thing that helps with that is to stop the self-judgment. Stop judging yourself for having a brain that's trying to protect you. Be kind to the part of yourself that is sending yourself into this overreactive state. I'm going to be sharing more on how to actually regulate that nervous system and rebuild that sense of reality. It's also what I work with my clients. So feel free to subscribe, follow, book a call with me, whatever approach you want to take right now, so that you can understand how to actually move forward. Because I promise you, you can find your way back to safety. This does not have to be permanent.